Okay, so let's discuss the movie The Shack with relation to the murders of Abigail and Liberty in Delphi. Does it have any correlation? What do you think? So what would we talk about? We'd be talking about the themes, we'd be talking about the characters, we could be talking about the setting, the signatures, the lessons. We could be talking about even the theology of the shack, the diversion of the shack from Christianity. Now, this is a big point of contention out in the real world because it's not accepted by some as any sort of Christian doctrine, and perhaps it shouldn't be. As I said before, maybe, I can't remember what I said in the first video, but, Paul Young, is he a heretic? To me, he seems like a fraud and he seems like an angry person, and I think he is some sort of trouble. People accuse him of universalism, and is this where we come to see that religion is so much a business? Is there something to do with the New Age spiritualism here relating between the shack and Delphi? We've got sort of this Bible Belt sort of situation here, but it's not just all these Baptist churches. And indeed, from something I saw on Garrett Kurt's Facebook, you've got, say, for example, the New Age, it's sort of these evangelistic churches like the River City situation, where you've got the young preacher going out, wanting to be one of these big boys. What they do, you see, is preachers, they have each other visit their own parish, and the visiting pastor will say, "How amazing. Do you realize what a good man your preacher is here? Do you see how wise he is? This man is one of the men I most look up to in life. He leads the way. You are so lucky. Keep tithing and buy my books. Buy the CDs. Enjoy this music. This is entertainment." Okay, now this is a business. So you've got these themes in the shack where is this, he's trying to talk about traditional religion, where, the people attending church, they are going to a church where it's about scripture, it's about worship, it's about this powerful Godhead, right? And yet the theology coming through in the shack it's not that. And it's not that is what I see seeping through these church groups around Delphi. This is, okay, look, don't come to my channel if you don't want to see something that's going to offend you. I'm not trying to offend you. What I'm trying to do is have an open conversation. You don't have to agree with everything I say, and I'm often wrong, and that's fine too, because I'm just the one that's saying it. This is my channel, as I said before. I'm not here to offend you, but if you're going to be triggered, then don't watch. So, we have this culture of these ambitious pastors wanting to make good. They see the big bucks that people are going, and they've probably got a career trajectory, and it's not upward in serving God and getting closer to God. It is to grow your church, make more money. What are the products? Well, the products are that you can be paid to go and visit other parishes, to say how good their pastor is, just to remind that parish they know how good they've got it. They are so lucky, they're grateful, they're going to keep enjoying the entertainment, they're going to keep tithing. Yes, this is a cynical view. Well, Okay, it's cynical, but it's the goddamn truth. Let's say the goddamn truth. In many cases, people might not realize what they are caught up in, what wave they are surfing, but you know, they think they've jumped into a particular ocean, and yeah, things aren't as they seem. So I don't know if there's anything to do with that type of the theme. Are we looking, people are saying, this religious element or aspect? Is it because we're supposed to think that maybe the perpetrator is something to do with the churches? We know we've got people looking at pastors. I'm not saying they're looking at this one that I saw on Garrett Kurtz's Facebook, but you know, is it this type of character? And what hurts are they carrying through that can make them use maybe their religion, that they're pretending to be so wholesome and good, but you know, what are they actually driven by, and why are they deciding that spiritually it's all right to be tricksy? Really, it's a fakery to me. This is just my opinion. This is not necessarily picking on this one person or whatever, okay, but it's just something I noted. Another thing is, you know, is the character then of Mac supposed to just more directly reflect somebody in Delphi or the surrounding areas, perhaps someone who doesn't live there anymore, or has maybe worked there, or maybe was even in the sphere of the girls in some capacity, because they are related through school, through parents, through, you know, besides the church groups and everything. But, you know, the sport, something to do with the community. The girls were involved in a lot of things. These girls were lovely, outgoing children. They had activities that they did. So is this person relating to a character in their lives? And so would we look at it just at simple face value? This person that might be a hunter, not that Mac was a hunter, but he went out, he had a gun when he went to the shack, he was a fisherman, perhaps he enjoyed that sort of activity, and an outdoorsman. So are we looking for someone that enjoys the woods, enjoys the waterways? Well, damn, there are a lot of waterways in Delphi and throughout Indiana, in fact, and so that on its own, you know, I'm not saying just someone that enjoys nature and the outdoors, because, you know, it needs to be bigger than that. So, you know, do the deer have something to do with it? Is it a hunter? Is it someone that is just a father and a family man with secrets in the community? Okay, what are you looking at to do with signatures? What are you looking at to do with, okay, you've got the ladybugs as a signature running through the shack, and the killer leaves this signature. Well, if we are looking at signatures, I mean, what stock are we putting on the dolls? What stock are we putting on these supposed images that show the girls to be posed? What can we believe? We don't know. Ooh. That's going to be another video. But I didn't mean to yell at you too. Getting very blustery. Okay, so stay on track first, and then I'll get to the blustery. So what are we knowing about dolls? How they were posed? What meaning does this have? And you know, the non-secular comment that's been erased that we're all talking about. You know, there's the Bobby Camworths. There's the you know, go beyond looking at tubers that have 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 subs. Look at the people with 50. What are they saying? They're living in the area. What are they saying? Now, I'm not saying take anything without just a grain of salt, because you should be discerning. But, you know, maybe you just need a little bit of a jolt out of believing something or sticking to some rhetoric that, you know, maybe you're in a bit of a rut because of it, to do with Delphi, right? For example, with your vilification of Mr. Ron Logan, okay? You don't have to like him. You don't have to think he's, you know, a lovely little sausage. He could have secrets too. His barn was searched. He has been interviewed. Yes, it's true. Nobody is cleared. No one. But they have been covered. If after 4 years it was Ron Logan, I'm sorry, but this is a huge fail, isn't it? I'm pretty sure he would be in jail for this particular crime if he was the perpetrator. Now, what does Ron Logan know? That could be another story. Did you think that Ron Logan might be scared? Did you think that Ron Logan might be having to sell up? And where the fuck is he going to go? He is a man of the land. He's built that little farm up over a number of years. Many people don't manage to hold on to their property for this long, for decades. This is something that Ron Logan achieved, and maybe because of the interactions he's had with people of the town, with, did you think that Ron Logan has been used and abused, and what has he been manipulated over? Who knows? Anywho, so these signatures though, you would imagine that the law enforcement officers investigating this heinous crime have checked every single state in America for unsolved murders that have the same signatures. It looks like they've come up with jack shit. Okay, so what about the lessons in the shack? Now, Kelsey German is Liberty's older sister, and she is the one that brought up the shack. She spoke to Carter about it. Did he subsequently watch it, or had he already watched it? I think he watched on her suggestion. She has watched the shack 2 or 3 times, whatever. She mentions it specifically. Now, why? And is this just why Carter just decided to bring it up? Who knows? But it has the theme of an older sister who feels guilt. She feels guilty. Was Kelsey the target? Is it someone that she knows and doesn't know that she knows? Or, people accuse Kelsey of having some involvement, of some of her friends of being involved. Is this what you think might have something to do with it? What do you think about, the lessons in there about trust and judgment and, the lessons? And, what do you think about the sins of the father and the father and the father? How holy terror is rained down upon people generationally. And we know the outcome of such abuse, don't we, in people? And, this is probably why Paul Young is the way he is. He was the victim of some sort of hideous child abuse. And we know that sometimes this abuse can lead to narcissism. It certainly led him down a particular path whereby, following the success of this book and movie, by it being taken up by the very people that rejected it at first, no one wanted to publish it or anything. I think they saw that it wasn't truth, it wasn't Christianity. It's trying to create a new theology, it seems. But, when it became popular, this is when people are running with it. When Oprah attaches herself to something, you can probably be looking at the devil. So, let's talk about Doug Carter's speech. Let's talk about the second presser. This is the final large presser. This is when, Doug Carter made the speech in about the shack, right? So what do you have? You've got people that have signed in to come into this building. You've got a lot of press there. And then you've got Doug Carter, he's with his mannerisms that are probably very practiced. And he's talking about, we believe you are hiding in plain sight. Well, if you believe that, why haven't you found him? And plain sight, let's just quickly talk about that. This could mean this doesn't mean, I mean, yeah, sure, it could just mean just a regular member of community, someone that's not a hermit, right? But it was made to sound as if it was somebody that is going to shock you, and when you find out, someone that might have some particular standing, or maybe someone that is close to the family, or, you know, it wasn't said in such a way as he thinks he's looking for the Unabomber. And what else did he say? Well, he parrots Alex Hunter's Ramsey speech. So the grand jury back in Boulder in the 90s voted to indict John Bennett Ramsey and Patricia Ramsey, his wife, on a couple of charges each. And Alex Hunter comes out and makes this speech because basically, you know, this dude must have sold his soul to the devil, right? Alex Hunter comes out and makes a speech that Carter basically parroted in part. And so Alex Hunter decides not to bring the Ramseys to trial. If he had done so, we would all have a lot more information. We would know what the police know. And interestingly, this is how Alex Hunter put it. You will be wondering, to the perpetrator, you know, to the killer, you are wondering what we know, and one day you will. You know, basically, Doug Carter repeats Alex Hunter's words. Well, you know, just an FBI trick. Why that speech in particular? Did he just think it was something cool to say? Couldn't he come up with his own guff? Is this because this is said more often than we realise, but we just don't hear enough speeches written by the fibby? What do you reckon? You know, is Doug Carter selling his soul to the devil by not solving this case? Why appeal so greatly to this person to come forward, or to the goodness of others? Because, freak, they've got audio, video. They've got so much. It's up to them. Just like was written in the Ramsey note, it's up to you now, Doug. You know, do you have faith in the law enforcement teams to get this perpetrator behind bars? Or is this person being gifted grace to live out the rest of their life and then to die a natural death? Because we know that after 1 year, an unsolved case has 5% chance of being solved, and it may only be decades later, after the person has enjoyed their life, maybe committed a few more crimes, and possibly, yes, had the opportunity to die on their own terms and not in jail or not in the electric chair. So what the hell is going on with this press conference? It sounded like, you know, he was going to go out and make an arrest that very day. And then after this, though, what do you hear? Nothing. They screw with the public by bringing in one more word, guys, and they show you another sketch and say, this is the guy. I don't hold much stock in the witness statements, and who knows what's going on with these sketches. But with regards to the audio and video that Liberty got on her phone, now, do you believe that Abby might have had a phone with her? Because knowing that, do you think it's possible the reason we have the phone is that Liberty, once she made that film, she threw the phone away so that he couldn't get it? Or was the perpetrator scared to take that phone with him? He didn't want to risk having the phone, risk being tracked. He couldn't, get the SIM card out quickly enough or do anything. Or, did he just not have the opportunity to get his hands on that phone? Did he leave it there not realizing that there was anything incriminating on it at all? Because we don't know what was left right at the scene. The phones, what? Where was this phone? So it could have been dropped smartly, and another good move by Libby. Why she wasn't calling 911? Well, maybe she thought, well, I'm not going to be able to get to call 911. Maybe she couldn't dial it to get it ringing. Is there a 911 call that we haven't heard? Is there? Do we know this? Did Liberty German or Abigail Williams call 911? Did they have the opportunity? And did she throw away her phone thinking this was we're in trouble here? Or would she try to hold on to it because they didn't have any other means of communication? So, why didn't he find the phone? Did he even look for it? Was he, disturbed? What is it that, how do these things actually go down? How did these things come about? Yeah, I mean, do we take it just literally at sort of some sort of face value where, that's another thing about this author, Young. He's just so fond of the hyperbole, telling his story over and over again, the way that he thinks he's speaking so unnaturally because he's giving out all these writerly phrases, right? But, at first, he was Mac. He's said later, there's he's on film, he goes around on this teaching circuit where he shows that he doesn't know Christian theology or the Bible very well, actually. He's quite manipulative in the way that he runs these classes. Anyway, but he says at another time, that he is Missy, that he's the little girl, that he's the Christ figure, that he is the, the way that healing and forgiveness is given to the world, that he is that person that made that sacrifice and that he is the teaching tool. He's not Mac, the map. He's actually, he's Missy. He's the reason for the whole thing. I don't know. It's that blink thing again, right? There's something in his eyes and in his manner. Very least he's not a believer and he doesn't believe his own shit and he's not healed and he has no right, in a sense, to go out forth into the world and teach like a prophet. He acts as if he is a prophet, as if he has some sort of conduit to the word of the Lord, to the understanding of scriptures and of, and he does not. Anywho, enough of that. So we are supposed to be talking about what did the shack mean when Doug Carter made this announcement. I recently saw a movie, The Shack. So we know that, sorry, I just keep yelling. We know that Kelsey German watched The Shack after, the book, I believe, had already been published. The movie is made, I think it was released in 2017, but after February. And Kelsey watched it, and I think it was actually shown. She may have even seen it through her youth group. These things are often shown in communities as part of, the community spirit for, say, school or youth group. I think possibly that's how Kelsey saw it. She saw it a couple of times. This isn't a judgment on her understanding of it, because Kelsey, just like millions of people, get comfort. They see this face value movie. It makes them feel comforted. It makes them feel like God is with them. When they have suffered loss, it's superficially, it is telling you that everything's okay, that there is life after death for all, that everybody is forgiven, everybody goes to heaven, that, you know, it's giving comfort superficially, okay? You know, and it is derided for its universalism. And Young will say that he's not a universalist. He will say it's not Kabbalah. He will say it is pure Christian based. He initially wrote it for children. I think I mentioned that, I don't know, in the last video. Anyway, those young minds. Yeah, so, okay, so what have we got with regards to, you know, the signatures, right? So, you know, have you seen Bobby Camworth's videos? What do you think about that? What do you think of blogs that write about the dolls? What do you think about, you know, the rumours of how the girls were posed? And I think it was to humiliate these girls. I think some things we can take as truth, with Liberty being covered in leaves, you know, the girls being close to each other. Did Liberty lose a shoe on the way through the river and out, or running? Did she take it off to throw at him? Did she, you know, did she trip when this happened? Because I believe it was on the other side of Deer Creek. I was going to say, was it something like, well, were all their shoes removed? Did he wash their feet? Something like that. But I don't think so. But, you know, hiding in plain sight, people might think, well, is it someone such as this, you know, like this James Bryan Chadwell, who is in plain sight because he's so desperate for attention. I mean, here I am making all these YouTube videos, right? But, you know, he's someone that is asking for attention all the time on his social media. He doesn't want to be forgotten. He needs to be seen. And I don't think it's that sort of, you know, someone that is out. Maybe they are active on social media, but it's for something. You know, it could be for their work or their job. It's part of showing their, you know, it's part of selling a lifestyle and that sort of thing, right? It could be something like that, if it's sort of prolific posting. But, you know, Chadwell is thick. He's stupid. This bridge troll has evaded the authorities for 4 years. It was planned, and he probably would have known how to act in various situations, put under pressure during the act, just before and just after. Whereas Chadwell, maybe through sadness and depression and just, in a way, self-sabotaging, because that is breaking what he was stuck in. He not only abducted, trafficked a young 9-year-old girl who was from his neighborhood, probably a neighbor, you know, just a house or two behind him. Not only just someone from such a local area to his home, he's taken them into that home. When the police have turned up, he has said, yeah, I saw her. She was just here. She's gone. I mean, you know, bridge troll is not going to make that type of mistake, okay? So bridge troll left plenty of clues, but he didn't want to leave a mistake. I've been wondering about rifle packs or some sort of something to pack gear, and not necessarily that he had a rifle, but, you know, these packs where you've got all your stuff here, because I don't think this person at the time was overly you know, I don't think they had any sort of obesity at all. You know, I think the bulk of everything here in the abdomen is stuff. And that could give the impression of having one thing. You know, you've got the people that say, oh, there's puppies. Yes, okay, Chadwell's dog had puppies. His dogs are called Outlaw and Angel. So, you know, but it could be that something under there. People are saying they see dolls under there, the outline of dolls and everything. But, you know, I do urge you, go and seek, oh, this is going to cut out. Go and seek out more obscure things being made by people. See what you think about it. Don't believe everything you read. Don't believe everything you hear. That goes for any shit that I spew forth at you. I'm sorry, I've been a bit yelly here. But I think, you know, this is serious. This is a serious time now. Something has to happen. We need to know more about the investigation. Yes, we understand that you don't want to give certain things away. That's very important for getting, you know, not having false confessions, or for getting, you know, it's getting the conviction, because you've got the double jeopardy there in America. But still, you know, there's more that people should have been told, because you've got people like Ron Logan being attacked and vilified for the last years of his life. This has probably taken 15 years of his life in the last 4 or 5 years, you know. He's done a long stint in prison. Who cares what he was like? You know, he's a bad liar. Okay, do you think Bridge Troll is a bad liar? No, Bridge Troll is a very good liar, or at least he's good enough so that you don't think about it. If you did think about it, you will realize. But Ron Logan's not a good liar, okay? Tropical fish, whatever, you know, but he could have information, and maybe that's why the police put him in prison. They thought that maybe he'll cut a deal, and he didn't. So he served a long term in comparison to the crime that he was convicted of, okay? He chose that. You know, often they rely on confessions, cops, okay, in interrogations and things, and they do things like, you know, tell people they've failed polygraph tests, a la Christopher Watts. Who knows if he even did? I mean, there's a shit for brains. He probably did fail, because he is another bad liar. You know, and more, you know, because gone are the days of Starsky and Hutch where, you know, evidence is planted, and there's all sorts of unwritten rules going on in the cult of the thin blue line, okay?